I know you're listening. You're here because something isn't right. Something feels twisted, upside down. Things don't add up. Hello, human. Welcome to our twisted universe. In this episode, we talk to Karyn Lee of the Angel Channel about Enoch.
Hi, and welcome to our Twisted Universe. Today we're going to be talking with Karyn Lee with the Angel Channel. We're going to be having discussions about Enoch. Super cool. Yeah. Hi, Karyn.
Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. We're so excited to have this interview today.
I know, I'm excited too.
So I have a question. Have you been talking to Enoch already?
Yeah, I did talk to him earlier. I ran some of this stuff by him because I don't know, lengthy answers are a little bit harder to channel sometimes for me. So I had a couple of questions on these before we, got into the meat of everything.
Gotcha.
My cat's behind me. I was like, what is that?
We have a lot of questions lined up for Enoch tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with who is Enoch?
Who is Enoch? Okay, so Enoch was a particular devout man. He was a scholar. We have the book of Enoch. It didn't actually make it officially into the Bible. So it's my understanding he studied a lot and he wrote a lot.
That's interesting.
So yeah. So
in his human life, he was a scholar.
Yeah, he that's how it came across to me when we spoke earlier. Very much studying and writing, and yeah.
I guess going a little deeper in that question, how did Enoch come to be Enoch?
Well, okay, so Enoch was just a human, just a man, and but he led a particularly special life, I guess. And so when he died, he became an archangel, which is very uncommon.
Really?
Is Enoch the only human to ever transform into an angel? Or
no? I know a couple. Of course, we know Sandalphon, and he was Elijah before. And yeah, so it's very rare that a human would become an angel when they die.
So I heard that, like, from my understanding, like, Enoch never actually experienced death. He was just taken into heaven. Is that true?
Yeah, there is a whole story about Angel Haniel coming down in like a chariot of fire and bringing him up to heaven or whatever, and that's not a thing. He lived. He was, as he explained it to me, he was a dirty bearded old man when he passed away.
That's not what I was expecting.
So, yeah, no, he said he lived a normal life. He had a normal death, and when he got to heaven, that was the first thing he ever knew anything about being an angel.
That's crazy. What was life like on Earth at the time Enoch was living as a human?
Well, like his life or just in general?
In his lifetime.
Okay. Well, he told me he didn't have a wife or children, so he was just by his own self, working his butt off, I guess, learning, doing his whole thing. And but he did have a mom and a dad, and I think he told me he had 3 sisters in life. So he was, he had a family, but he kind of did his own thing too. So it was mostly a simple life, but I'm sure he had struggles like the rest of us. But that's basically how he described it to me.
So he was kind of a loner type of
Yeah, I mean, just into his thing,
Scholar, studious, nerd.
Yeah, just yeah, just into learning and not a whole bunch else. But I asked him, I was like, well, wasn't that lonely for you? And he says, no, he had friends and things.
So did he talk about like what other people were like in his lifetime? Like what,
Yeah. So basically the conversation we had, I'm gonna look at my notes a little bit because we did talk a whole lot and there's a lot of questions. So he said people then were not quite as soft as they are now. To put it nicely, they spent more time outside. They thought more, generally, like they put more thought into things. So I was going to use the word thoughtful, but also, actual thinking thought.
I'm sure technology has dumbed us down here in the future.
Yeah.
Whereas
we like to be indoors with our with our internet.
I mean, they still probably had a fair amount of their like survival traits within them in that time period too. Whereas here now we don't really have to worry about things like that very often anymore. So
that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside more because inside, there wasn't electricity and all that.
Well, yeah. Sitting around doing nothing. They have to
they kept busy in other ways, in probably helpful ways. Even if they weren't working, they were probably doing something productive.
I imagine they didn't have a lot of leisure time.
Yeah.
What is Enoch's relationship to Metatron?
Okay, so Metatron is who he became as an angel. He didn't have a relationship. There was no Metatron before he passed away. So that's the angel he was made, transformed.
So that's his name now.
When he
Metatron.
Yeah. So the thing is, and angels are kind of peculiar about their names, generally speaking. Some are not. Like Raphael is cool. He'll let you call him Raph, but Gabriel is very particular on who he'll call him Gabe. And I don't know why I have been afforded the privilege to call him Enoch, but he has asked me to call him Enoch, so I do. But he is Archangel Metatron, and that's his angel name. But he's still Enoch. He's just Archangel Metatron is his angel name that he's been given. So they're very peculiar. When I first started talking to my angels, I'd be like, can I shorten your name? Can I call you? I have an angel called Zephiel. And I said, well, can I call you Zephy? And he was like, I don't know. But now that we've warmed up, he's cool with it, but they're very kind of proud of their names, So, but yeah, so that's who he is now. He was not before. There was no Archangel Metatron before he passed away and became him. So it's,
That's interesting. Is there, this isn't, I was wondering, is there any reason why they named him Metatron, or where did he get the name?
I looked into the meaning of it because they all have different meanings. And you can find it online. It pretty much says it right there. I cannot recall. It's very, there's a couple of discrepancies and I'm not sure which one actually fits better. Some people say it's one thing and some say it's the other. And I don't have that in front of me, so I can't tell you exactly. But that would be a good question to ask him some other time and see which, because there's a couple they're like, well, we don't know if this translation or this one fits better. So, but it does have a meaning. And then, yeah. So I'd have to look it up. I can't tell you exactly what it means off the top of my head.
So does he have input on how people can better their relationship with the creator?
I mean, mostly all he had to say was just talk to him, involve him in your life. You don't have to pray. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be in church. You know, you can just talk to him. I do all the time. I talk to him to tell him stupid jokes. You know, just involve him in your life.
That's interesting.
I don't know. I feel like that's gonna make somebody feel bad, but you don't have to wait until something's wrong to talk to him. You know what I mean? Which I mean, it's fine if you do. You know, but you know, just talk to him about anything, everything.
I mean, you know, typically it's like when you think about that friend, and not saying this is a bad thing because that's what friends are for, but that friend that's constantly like, oh my gosh, this is going on in my life.
It's only drama when they call.
When you're reaching out to him only with like, I have all these problems, which he's there for, but
that's, yeah. Oh,
also like, hey, I'm really thankful for how beautiful it is today, or something, you know?
Or just anything. Yeah. Gratitude is fantastic, you know. You know, I have a journal. I haven't written in it in a minute because I've been dealing with this block and I'm in a place, but you know, you can write to him. You can anything. I think all that's really good, but you know, gratitude is amazing if you have nothing else to say, or you know, just say hi. I don't know. It really anything.
It would be a good daily practice to reach out to the creator and just check in.
Yeah. Say, you know, hi. You know, whatever.
I pray often, but it's times of struggle more than times of pleasantries.
Well, and I used to every night, and I was like, I'm really praying the same thing over and over again, and I don't feel like that's necessary. So I wait for necessity really to pray, but I do try to show gratitude as much as I can, even, you know, if things are going so well that I feel like I don't need to pray. I mean, that's even better, you know.
Typically when I pray, it's like, you know, just help give me like the strength to become a better person and things like that, or like, you know, praying to watch out for my children and help them grow and things like that is most of the time what I'm praying for, is like praying for my family, and then just like, you know, praying to give me the strength to just keep getting better and becoming a better person.
Yeah, and I pray for that too, that I'm better every day, you know, just be a better person than I was. And you know, I pray for the world a lot because there's just so much weirdness going on.
Yeah.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
What can people learn from METATRON today, or Enoch?
Okay, so here's the message that he gave me for everyone. Be patient with one another. Put kindness and understanding back into our hearts. Don't be quick to judge or feel offended. He wants people to remember that, you know, you're probably not a victim. The world's not out to hurt you, and or your feelings, you know. Because we just need to be more understanding and have some backbone.
Wow. Like back in my day. In my day, we had backbones.
Yeah. You know, like you didn't have to like get your feelings hurt by everything.
No, that makes
it's hard. Sense. It's hard to talk to people. It's hard to connect with people when you have to be afraid of saying the wrong thing. I mean, there's so many triggers now, and it shouldn't. I mean, you should be able to talk to somebody without fear of send them off the deep end.
It's by design.
I think everybody's kind of like that. Everybody's kind of nervous to talk about where they're at or their beliefs or their standpoints on things.
Oh yeah.
I test the waters with people all the time.
Yeah, you gotta like dip your toes in and just feel out.
You
the
gotta kind of find your vibe with people, you know. I can't with those people that just you know, really get offended by things, or I don't know, it's too much stress.
It does seem like we're all divided, split up into little quadrants of
Yeah.
race,
Well, and I think,
financial, political,
yeah.
east side, west side.
I personally haven't really like experienced a lot of that recently. Like I've been meeting, you know, some new people recently. And I mean, I found that even if we don't 100% agree on things, we can like meet a common ground and have a intelligent conversation with one another about the things we care about and the things we believe in. And it's not a hostile environment, which I mean, you can't speak on anything that anybody else has been through. You can only talk about what you've been through.
Right.
True. You know, I've found people to be a lot more understanding recently, but I know that's not always the case. So.
Yeah. It just, I think it depends on situations and kind of where you're at and whatever, you know, people on the internet are so much quicker to be brave because they're
not
behind
talking
a screen.
Yeah.
So I don't think most of those people would act that way in person. Some of them do, you know, those crazy people that we get on camera all the time, but most people don't, I think, leave their house and act that way.
Yeah. Okay, so we're curious. Did he have any pinpoints on you know, if Jesus is going to be coming back maybe in like the next 20 years or so?
Yeah, so he would not go into depth on that, even though I have spoken with them in depth. He just says sooner than you think.
Well, that could be lifetimes.
Sooner than you think too. An angel is like hundreds of years or something.
Definitely sooner than 20 years. Definitely sooner than that. But I think
sooner than 20 years?
That's intense.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's really intense.
That's crazy. Wow.
So yeah, he just much sooner than you would think, he says.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
I was wondering, can Enoch describe what heaven is?
Yeah, so heaven is actually the 6th and 7th dimension, as we would call it. So the 6th dimension is where spirits and souls are, humans. And then 7th dimension is where angels and deities and higher vibrational beings would be dwelling.
Do animals survive in any of those dimensions? Animals?
You know, I was asking them recently if animals have souls, and they said some do. So I guess not. I mean, that would be crazy if every living thing had a soul. I mean,
Would it
my
though?
gosh, but so I guess some things do and some don't. But yeah, they would, I guess, be in the same space there in the 6th dimension with all the spirits and souls.
Interesting. Some things have souls and some things don't.
So,
and you're talking about like animals specifically,
or the same as?
Yeah, like I didn't go down like a list of certain animals, but you know, I guess like cats and dogs surely do. And you know, maybe like, I don't know, a ladybug probably doesn't. You know, it just depends. So
interesting.
yeah.
Is it possible for a human not to have a soul?
No. We're all souls and spirits. So oh god, I had a point I was gonna make and it left my mind. but yeah, we're made of God, what they tell me, soul, spirit, and incarnation, because we incarnate here.
Right.
So what they would call an incarnate is part of what makes a human, whereas angels are divinity and soul and spirit, and then demons are just a spirit, and I forget, they've got a second part, so they don't have a soul. That's their thing.
Ooh,
So yeah.
interesting.
I have a question. You may or may not know, but so is there like I'm sure, but like a difference between like a demon and a fallen angel? Like, would those be classified
Yeah.
very differently? Like, is
Very
it
much
just like
Um,
something that was conjured out of hell, or like?
so a fallen angel, oh, it's such a broad spectrum. I know many fallen angels. My Tamiel is considered a fallen angel. They're not bad, they're not evil, they're absolutely not demons. They still have their soul, they have their spirit, they're still divinity. So I mean, there are good and bad angels. I've met mean angels. They're okay, and when I say mean angels, they're not going to go around and pick on human beings. Like there's no angel that's going to come after you. I have a couple that give me a hard time, but that's a different story. And then I've met demons that are okay. My angels let them come around, we speak. So there's gray area, I guess, if you want to say, but there's good and bad on everything. So but no, fallen angels, man, that's got to be a whole nother conversation, because I could go on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like spiral.
No, that's
there.
okay.
I was just curious about it.
I'm very passionate talking about fallen angels, because I do know very many of them, and they're not bad, they're not evil, are they kind
of waiting to like prove themselves again? Or?
Absolutely. And and I've told them I'm more than happy to put myself out there, because I know that it's wrong. And there's been the stories. There's stories in the book of Enoch. There's the stories about the Watchers, and they fell to earth. They came to marry the beautiful daughters of man, and then the Nephilim, who are also not bad. So yeah, that's a whole other spectrum of things, but yeah, they're not bad.
Have another show on our hands in a little bit.
Yeah, I will talk with you as much as you like about fallen angels, because they're not bad.
Okay.
I mean, most of them. There might be some that suck. I haven't met every single one of them, but that I know several, and they're fantastic.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So, what is God? What would you tell us God is? What is God?
God is, so when we spoke, he just gave me this simple sentence that God is creator of all things below universe. So God did not create universe. It's my understanding that God comes from universe, but everything else comes from God. So it's like, okay, this is going to sound super weird. You can speak to universe, people that do gratitude and they do manifesting and stuff, and they say, dear universe, you're actually talking to universe. Like, I communicate with the universe. You can talk to the universe, and it's a sentient thing. It's not just, the stars in the sky or whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's something to go deeper into also.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I just recently discovered that I can actually, you can communicate with the universe. So I've been kind of learning. and trying to pester universe, but it's very hard because, I've been dealing with this block and I'm just trying to get through it so I can get better information. It's like I'm kind of limited on the things that I can get right now. It's funky, but I mean, if you've ever heard of block,
with anything, it's just, you get clogged up and you gotta like clear everything out, and then
I get frustrated because it's like I'm trying to get answers and it just like it wants to come through but can't quite. It's like when you got something on the tip of your tongue, and so I if you have to force it, you shouldn't, let it go and bring it back another time. Excuse me. So that's usually what that's my policy. If it's not coming, I gotta wait.
So with that being said, are we in a simulation or are we like a cell in an organism?
He thought this was really funny. He had a little bit of a chuckle and he said, no, that's propaganda for conspiracy theorists. He thinks it's really interesting. And, I watch videos and stuff on that all the time, where, like somebody's pet dog is like frozen in the Matrix, or the airplane like frozen in the sky and stuff. I think that's so cool. And he's like, no, that's not a thing. I haven't really talked to them. I see these videos where people like swear they jumped into a parallel universe or something. So I'm really curious to find out how that works. But yeah, I don't know how that works, but I'm curious.
I think that we have shifted timelines.
Yeah. Well, and we are having shifts right now. I guess there's a total energy shift, and it may be building up for something big.
Well, I mean, the second coming, obviously.
Yeah. I will talk to you guys more about this when we're not on the internet. Because I don't think I'm supposed to put this out there for the world just yet.
Gotcha.
So we'll have to talk about it behind the scenes, because I don't want to
They're
get in
not
trouble
ready.
for bringing it upstairs.
They're not ready yet.
No, it's not. I am not.
Everybody's gonna have their own belief systems, and if you believe in Jesus, great. If you don't, great also. I personally do. I'm looking forward to the second coming.
I think everybody follows their own path.
I tell him all the time, I'm like, get your butt down here, because we are way past due. we are in a terrible need right now.
I mean, everybody could use a little more of that goodness, whoever, your ascended
Enlightenment,
masters. Yeah,
spiritualism.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Be it Allah or Buddha or whoever.
I said this on a previous show with you. It's not one size fits all, and everyone has their own path to connecting with their creator.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, and they are not gonna come for you if you'd rather talk to Buddha or Krishna, any of the ascended masters. If you're more comfortable than talking to them, then you are Yeshua. I call him Yeshua. But he's not offended. He's not. I had a girl the other day that I channeled for. And she asked me to tell Yeshua hello for her, but that she's got Jesus issues. So I kind of spoke with him a little bit for her, and he said, hey, just tell her that I am always her friend, and I will always be here waiting when she is ready. I'm not. He won't. He did kind of come after me because I had been angry with him and with God for over 20 years. I was very mad. And so finally he kind of came and pulled me back in, but that's another story too.
He's like, what's up? Come on.
He's not.
Came home slice.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, all right, the time has come. Enough of this.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that able to.
It was really nice. You know, I had talked with him a bit, and I was like, all right, so like, what do you want me to do exactly? And he had asked me to do a communion, and then go and get baptized, and then do another communion, and I did exactly that.
Okay, so I wanted to ask Enoch if we were living several lives simultaneously. I've been told we have a higher self, and then there's like tendrils coming down, and you are all connected to the higher self, but you could literally be living multiple lives on different planes, or you could be having lunch with yourself here on Earth and living two separate lives at the same time.
I don't. Your higher self is your soul, essentially. So, I mean, no. He said, what did he say? Hold on. Yeah, he just said it's just your one life. Your soul has a single journey at a time. So you're not out there. You know, and I wonder, because I do feel like we travel and go places and do things in our dreams. Right. So, you know, maybe when you're dreaming and you're in the astral realm, you know, you're out and about doing who knows what. But as far as yeah, no, he just said your higher self is your soul, and it's with you. You're, you know, but you can communicate with your higher self. It's the same thing as talking to your soul. So, and I watched something on this the other day, and it was really interesting to me. But yeah, so
how would you communicate? Like meditation, or
I mean, I can kind of just talk to myself like I do with my angels. I, instead of calling it my my higher self, I've always called it my true self. And so I've always addressed her as that. You know, and she can see things that I can't see. So, or, you know, sometimes because I'm very indecisive, I'll be like, all right, true self, what do we want to do here? Because I can't decide. Sometimes she's like, I don't know either. I'm like, oh, dang.
That's funny.
So, what do all of us Earthlings need to be prepared for over the next year?
You'll like this. The beginning of New Earth.
New Earth.
New Earth.
I've been hearing that a lot.
What does that mean?
So when Yeshua does return, we talked about this before, you know, they kind of want to go back to you know, beauty and purity and the simple kind of life. And I think that's New Earth, when things change, when Yeshua comes back and we start fixing the things that need to be fixed.
There's a lot of talk of shortages and economic downfall and all that.
Yeah.
What would Enoch tell us measly humans to do to be ready for all that?
Give me a second. So remember during COVID, and everybody was like panic buying and stocking and going bananas. We need to worry about our neighbor just as much as we worry about ourselves. We need to not be selfish. Don't panic. He says the Lord provides. It will be okay. He says seek alternatives. So Okay, so like the baby formula, I know a lot of women are helping. They're pumping extra breast milk to donate for babies that are in need. You know, and I had sent you that thing.
Yes.
I think I sent it to you, you know, the goat's milk. So there's always another way. Sometimes we just have to find it. It
A
won't.
little more thoughtful, like in the
Yeah, like we were talking. Yeah. So, you know, instead of panicking, take a minute, take a breath, and think what else can be done. It won't be this way forever. You know, because that when we start panic buying and losing our minds, that makes it worse. That's not helpful.
That's
you know,
exactly the intention.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Every time I've asked the spirits, what do we need to do? And do I need to freak out because all the factories are burning and farms and all that are, and the
Yeah.
workers, all of it compounded. And when I ask, they say, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just what Enoch said. Don't worry.
Yeah. So
Sit
yeah,
back.
don't, it's you can't panic, you know, because that just leads to more mountain out of a molehill kind of thing. It does seem awful, and it is. I'm not, you know, trying to make it small, because it's not, but it's just, you have to keep a level head. So, and people don't, they the first, you know, word of anything, and they fly out their door, and the next thing you know, the shelves are bare, and then the rest of us are struggling. So you can go on YouTube. Remember the baby wipe thing? You can make your own baby wipes. That's not a thing. I mean, it sucks when you can't just go to the store and buy the things you need, but there's other ways, and maybe sometimes those ways are better. Maybe you learn afterwards that, hey, I kind of like this better.
I mean, we got on for, you know, thousands of years without the things we have today, and
Exactly.
still managed to survive somehow. So
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. That's the other thing too. You know, people think that when Yeshua comes back, it's going to be the end of the world. And half of us are going to float up into the sky, and the rest of us are going to stay here and I guess burn. I don't know. Revelations is a little bit. It's a little bit more exciting than it should be. We've talked a lot about Revelations. Like there's things in there that are right, but it's a little bit sensationist, I think was the word I wanted. Is that the right word? Anyway, very, very doom and gloom.
I think that's actually kind of a high note to end on with, you know,
Yeah.
as far as the struggles ahead, like if we just stay calm and not really feed into those negative feelings and panic, and
Look for your neighbors.
love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
Look out
Right.
for your neighbors.
Exactly.
And look for alternatives. Do what the angels tell you to do.
Yeah. We're in good hands, whether we believe it or not. Some days it might not seem like it, but it's gonna work out.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We had a great time talking to you.
Well, thank you. I had a great time too.
Well, thanks. And I hope you have a good night.
Bye.
Oh, you too. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Come back soon for more great videos on strange and unusual topics: psychics, hauntings, energy healing, UFOs, entities, and other twisted shenanigans. Keep listening for a short clearing prayer.
We welcome all higher dimensional beings, archangels, and spirit guides in love and light. We speak to you from our heart to the Creator being. We are shrouded in light and love and are protected. We release any attachments or agreements that are not in our highest good and greatest good. We ask you to go in peace. The Creator welcomes you. You are healed and forgiven, lifted and enlightened. You are healed and forgiven, lifted and enlightened. You are surrounded with the Creator's light and love, safe to leave and ascend to your highest good. We ask the divine beings to help you move into your perfect place. Go in peace and love.